We've been searching through millions of Minecraft seeds to find the rarest and most amazing villages. We've got villages floating high in the sky, villages combined with crazy structures, and the most beautiful villages you'll ever spawn in. Here are 32 village seeds that you need to try. You probably never thought a Minecraft seed could be both chaotic and peaceful at the same time, but this one manages it somehow by combining loads of rare structures with incredibly beautiful terrain, all right at spawn. You begin your adventure on the edge of a super deep lake surrounded by mountains and cherry grove, and right in the middle of that lake, you can find a woodland mansion that is generated right on top of a cherry village. Even though the mansion has destroyed most of the houses, it's really cool to see a mansion and village combination with cherry trees instead of dark oak. Head up towards the mountains and you'll discover some nice flat land that would be perfect for building a base that watches over the lake. Up here you can also find a pillager outpost as well as a giant ruined portal. So if you want a good combination of building potential and exciting structures to explore, this seed could be a perfect choice. This is my #1 favorite spawn for the Garden Awakens drop. This seed begins your adventure right next to a village that sits high up on a meadow, surrounded by a river all around it, mountains directly behind it, cherry grove to the left, and a pale garden to the right. You'll find it hard to come across a spawned village in a more beautiful location this close to the pale garden. And it's just an added bonus that this village, once again, has 5 blacksmiths, so you'll have plenty of loot to get off to the best start. There's even a trial chamber right underneath the village too. And if you adventure over the spawn mountains, you'll spot loads more biomes like jungle, savanna, badlands, deserts, and even another large pale garden, so this one has plenty to explore. This seed has a village island with possibly the best view that any village island has ever had. Whether you come to this island to trade, survive, or simply admire the view, this one is bound to leave you inspired. The island is super steep, and the village sits right at the very top, but there's some houses down by the water too, so maybe you could connect them. On one side of the island, you'll look out over the endless ocean, and on the other side, you've got an incredible view of a beautiful mountain coastline. Imagine building majestic bridges that connect the village to the surrounding cliffs, with a city of cliff-face houses that span the entire coast. This next seed has a really cool village and mansion combination, but first, it's worth exploring Spawn a little because it's got some of the best spawn terrain I've ever seen. Right at the start of your adventure, you've got some river islands surrounded by dense forests in all directions, and just around the corner, you've got a beautiful valley where rivers, forests, and steep meadow hills combine to create a perfect location for building a base. This is exactly where I'd be setting up my home if I were to choose this seed. And just across from this area is where you'll find a mansion that is buried into the wall of a meadow crater. There's even a village and a ruined portal right on top of the mansion too. You could even live in here and build a staircase up to the mansion for whenever you want to leave the crater and explore the world. As well as the mansions, we've also been on the lookout for the best Pale Garden village seeds, and this one is definitely up there. Welcome to the village of happiness and danger. This seed spawns you right next to a meadow village with a pale garden on one side and a cherry grove on the other. Not only is it a perfect spawn for the new update, but it's also just a great spawn in general because this village also comes with 5 blacksmiths. So hopefully, you'll have enough loot to take on the creaking right from the start. Wait for the sun to go down and go check out the Eye Blossom, Minecraft's newest flower that glows in the dark. And then, once the sun comes back up, head back through the village to hang out with the bees underneath the cherry blossom. There's even a snow biome in the distance, so this really could be the perfect winter drop seed. If I were to tell you that you could spawn on a floating chunk of blocks, where village houses are suspended high above the world, with cascading waterfalls creating natural elevators to the rest of the village below, you probably wouldn't believe me. But it's possible, and the possible things you could do with this sky village are endless. It's such a unique and fun spawn. It's perfect for those who love the unusual. There's even a ruined portal room halfway up the floating chunk with a great view of the landscape below. Not quite as good as the views from the houses at the very top though. You can even spot a mushroom island off in the distance. This woodland mansion is the most useful woodland mansion ever discovered in Minecraft, and that's because of a rare and special feature inside of the mansion that's going to make your survival experience a hell of a lot easier. In this world, you'll begin your adventure on a beautiful coastal mountain range next to a bunch of exciting structures. The first thing you'll see will be snowy peaks and a woodland mansion towering over you. Explore the other side of the mansion, and you'll also discover a village along the riverbank and a pillager outpost lurking in the mountains. And if that wasn't enough, enough, there's also a stronghold and an ancient city right underneath Spawn too. Accompany all of those structures with mesmerizing mountain valleys, beautiful places to build, and even huge exposed caves to drop into, and you've got the perfect start to a new world. You'll also have the perfect way to level up and gain EXP, because inside your mansion, you can find 5 spider spawners. And what's even crazier is the fact that they're close enough together to all be activated at the same time. This is one of the most breathtaking and rare structure discoveries you'll ever see. A double village nestled inside of a stunning mountain crater. When you first spawn into this world, you'll find yourself right at the top of a snowy mountain peak high above the clouds. Take a look down, and you'll be greeted by the view of a massive crater surrounded by towering jagged peaks, with what looks like an extraordinarily long village spread across the valley's floor. As you walk down the snowy slopes, it's like you've stumbled across a hidden civilization protected by a natural fortress. The amazing thing is, this isn't just one village, it's actually 2 villages fused together. It's the perfect spawn to build a kingdom where 2 village factions have joined forces. But would you believe, there are even rarer double village discoveries coming up later in the video. I think this seed could be Minecraft's best mansion village spawn ever. You'll begin your adventure inside of a pale garden, and you'll literally be just a few steps away from a woodland mansion. Head through the pale forest to the opposite side of the mansion, and you'll find a village here at spawn too. The village sits almost entirely inside of the pale garden. I wonder if we'll ever get pale garden villager variants. Part of the village also makes its way into a river valley. Maybe you could build a bridge over to the birch forest and help the villagers escape. This seed gives you one of the most visually stunning and uniquely layered spawns you'll ever come across. You'll spawn near a small snowy hill that stands out as the centerpiece of the world, because surrounding this white hill is a lush flower forest bursting with color. And surrounding that flower forest, 4 villages create a ring of activity which helps bring this spawn to life. And if that wasn't enough, a cherry grove biome wraps around it all, giving you a soft pink blanket of serenity and wonder for your new Minecraft spawn. From snow to flowers, villages, and cherry blossom, this seed offers so much potential. Connect the 4 villages with custom paths, and then build a castle or a church in the center to create one big, beautiful city. This seed might have the craziest mansion I've ever seen, because not only is it absolutely massive, but it's covered from top to toe in vines. It's surrounded by crazy sky-high aquifers, and it's combined with loads of structures too. You can find this monstrosity in the middle of a deep jungle lake, with a jungle temple keeping its distance and wondering if it should join in the party. In the middle of the lake, the mansion combines with the village, and there's some cool tunnels that lead down into a sinkhole, which could make for some fun building potential. There's even an ocean monument right under the village, and way up at the top of the mansion, there's a pillager outpost that you might not have noticed until you got up here. Just look at the view that these pillagers get to enjoy. This seed has a really nice spawn with a cherry mountain surrounded by a river, a jungle village close by, and some wide open plains with jagged peaks in the distance. But there's one village in this seed that you need to travel to because it's got some amazing underground secrets. Head into the desert and you'll come across this village with an outpost lurking nearby. It's no wonder the pillagers have their eyes on this village, because underneath it you can find a stronghold with not 1, but 2 end portals, with one stacked on top of the other. You can jump from one end portal room to the other. What makes this stronghold even more unique is the fact that there's a staircase that leads you directly into a trial chamber. If you're down for an epic snowy adventure this winter, this seed gives you the best possible start. This is probably one of the best Minecraft spawns I've ever shown you. In this seed, your adventure starts in the middle of a circular plains biome with not 1 but 4 villages that can all be found around the edge of the circle. With 4 villages to trade with and plenty of space for building in the center of the circle, it really is a dream start. One of the villages leads you to an ice spikes biome, which could be a good place to start exploring the snowy terrain that surrounds you. Or you could just stay in the circle and never leave. Turn the villages into one big city and build a giant dome to protect the villagers from the cold. I'd love to know what you do with this one. Let me know in the comments. Up next is a seed that spawns you right next to Minecraft's newest biome, the Pale Garden. But there's something just over the hill that makes this new biome extra special. Make your way through the forest quickly before the sun goes down, and you'll stumble across a village where some of the villagers have even dared to build their homes inside of the Pale Garden. The other half of the village sits on the edge of a meadow cliff, looking out over a long winding river. Day or night, This village gives you the ultimate start to your adventure. Look out over a beautiful landscape where everything is made of blocks, or fight off the dangers of the night. With this village, there will be no limit to your imagination. But there's still a few pale garden seeds to come that will blow you away. It's time to experience a mountain crater village where two different cultures merge in harmony. This seed spawns you in a mountain crater where not only two villages have joined together, but the fact that those villages are two different types makes it even rarer. Before this video, I don't remember ever seeing two villages connect, so this is definitely the first time I've seen two different types of villages connect. Seeing two different villages unify is something special, especially in such a beautiful location right at spawn. But the best spawn terrain is still yet to come. This seed was one of my favourites from last year, but it got even better recently thanks to the winter drop. Right at spawn you've got a woodland mansion, an unbelievable cave village with an outpost that leads you down into a lush mine shaft, and an epic build location where a giant meadow island is surrounded by forests and a river flowing all the way around it. It's the perfect spot for a castle and a bridge crossing over the river to the mansion. There's loads of pale gardens around spawn now too, which is a huge upgrade, which I think makes this a perfect seed for 2025. If one village isn't enough for you, this seed spawns you on an unbelievable desert island where you can find 4 of them. All on the same island, 4 villages as close together as they could possibly be. I've just noticed that there's even a desert temple on the island too. You'll have tons of villagers to trade with, plenty of loot right from the start, and the ultimate opportunity to construct a desert island city. This seed gives you a cozy spawn where a village is surrounded by a river, meadows, and forests all around it. But there's something strange off in the distance that you need to see to believe. Head over to this giant frozen lake and you'll find a jaw-dropping structure combination where a mansion and a village somehow balance on the lake's icy surface with a super tall pillager outpost that rises up from the mansion to beyond the clouds. This seed feels like a glitch in the Matrix, but the lake itself creates a magical backdrop. There's a really nice snowy forest and plenty of space on the meadow where you could build your base and watch over these crazy structures. But next, I'd like to take you to a much more peaceful spawn. This seed has a village with what might be the chillest panoramic views any village has ever had. It's perfect for peaceful building and adventuring. The village sits right on the edge of a giant lake with stunning views across its calm waters of magnificent snowy mountains. It's like a painting brought to life in Minecraft. These villagers picked a pretty nice spot, didn't they? Once you gather resources from the forests and build on the flat plains around the lake, you'll have the perfect escape. It's the perfect spawn for a lakeside retreat. Up next is an incredible seed with a special feature that we all dream of stumbling across. Spawn is packed with cherry groves and forest islands. It's a great seed for both building and exploring. But the nearest village to spawn is where you should head first, because you won't believe what's below it. Dig below the village and you'll drop into a stronghold with an already complete 12-eye end portal. The rarest feature you could ever find in Minecraft, and it's just 300 blocks from spawn. Anyone down for a speedrun? If there was one village seed that I recommend you check out this winter, it'd probably be this one, because it's got some of the craziest snowy village generation you'll ever find right at spawn. You actually spawn right at the very top of a windswept mountain alongside a ruined portal and some houses. These villagers really get to enjoy some incredible views. But once you look down, you'll start to realize how special this village is. Jump through the hole in the top of the mountain and you'll discover the rest of the village all the way down on the surface. But this spawn isn't just about what's already here, it's about what you can make of it. Picture a winding staircase that connects all of the houses together, and a few bridges built across the giant arch. There are even a few nice spots for a hidden base in the cliffs. The frozen ocean is begging to be explored too, because I've spotted a few shipwrecks that might have some interesting treasure. This seed has a large exposed cave right at spawn that contains both a woodland mansion and even a house from a village inside of the cave too. This has been one of my favourite cave seeds for a while, and now it's got even better in the new update. Only 500 blocks away from this mansion, you can find a second mansion. And right next to that second mansion, there is now a pale garden biome. So this seed gives you an epic spawn for building a unique base, plenty of exciting structures, and a pretty big pale garden to explore close by. What more could you want? This seed offers you a one-of-a-kind spawn where village generation gets even rarer. It's another seed where two villages have joined forces, but this time on a survival island right at spawn. The island is made even more special by its minimalistic features. Just two lone trees and a ravine splitting the villages in a way that feels like a nostalgic nod to classic Minecraft terrain. And just when you think this spawn island couldn't get any better, there's a mushroom island nearby, adding even more to its charm. Transform the double village into an island fortress, upgrade the bridge that crosses the ravine, and slowly turn the two trees into a forest that surrounds the island's coast. It's the perfect island to call home. This seed has an unbelievably rare cluster of structures discovered in such a beautiful location, but there's also a hidden structure here that I'm not going to mention. Let me know in the comments if you managed to spot it. Head through the cherry grove at spawn and you'll be left speechless by what you find in the middle of this stunning lake. As well as a giant ruined portal, you've got a village that is combined with a mansion. Above these structures, waterfalls crash down from aquifers floating way up in the sky. Some of the village paths have somehow managed to generate up here too. Up next is a beautiful hidden gem of a Minecraft seed. A peaceful plain circle surrounded by snow and packed with unique features. This seed spawns you in the heart of a circular patch of plains, an oasis of greenery nestled in the middle of a vast snowy landscape. Within your cozy spawn circle, you'll find a nice small village perfect for getting you off to a great start, along with a cherry grove hill that adds an extra touch of life and colour to the icy surroundings. It's the perfect spot to call home. It feels like you're stepping into a serene pocket of life surrounded by snowy wilderness. If you adventure beyond your snowy boundary, you'll discover a snowy village and dice spikes glistening all around you. This seed is truly magical, and if you loved this one as much as I do, I've got another seed coming up that you might like even better. Up next is possibly the craziest outpost village I've ever seen, because you actually only get half an outpost thanks to this giant ruined portal. Unfortunately, it looks like the pillagers are still spawning, but at least this guy is stuck in the netherrack. There's loads more crazy structures on this frozen lake too. There's a village connected to the pillager portal and a shipwreck that has crashed into the roof of a woodland mansion. I don't even want to know how that got there. This seed spawns you inside of a charming village surrounded by a vast flat meadow covered in flowers. It's the perfect place to settle down right from the start, with plenty of space for building and a community of villagers ready to trade with. During the day, this is Minecraft's most peaceful village spawn, but during the night, you might have to keep an eye out for your neighbours because they're a bit weird. The village sits right next to one of the biggest pale gardens I've ever seen. I'd recommend grabbing one of the villagers' beds as soon as possible. If you were to ask me for the perfect long-term survival seed for the new update, this one would be high up on the list because it has loads of pale gardens, plenty of crazy structures, and almost every other biome you could ever want. You spawn in a huge dark forest that is almost 3,000 blocks wide. I've counted over 8 pale gardens in this dark forest, including this one, which is right at spawn. Just over the river from this garden you can find a village, a woodland mansion, and a giant ruined portal that has broken the mansion's roof. Rise up from these incredible structures, and you'll notice this seed has amazing biome diversity. In one direction, you've got pale gardens, bamboo forests, badlands, and deserts, and in the other direction, you've got meadows, spruce forests, and ice spikes. The next seed takes us to another snowy mountain, but this time there's a village right by spawn with an amazing underground secret. You'll quickly realize that this isn't an ordinary village once you spawn into this world. Some of the houses have generated deep within a lush cave below the village. The spruce wood houses actually seem to fit really nicely with the lush cave's green foliage. It gives the underground village a nice, exotic and overgrown vibe. This could be the perfect setting to build a lush underground civilization. If you're on the lookout for the chillest, most picturesque village seed possible, here's one you need to check out. This seed doesn't just give you one village, but 2 that have merged together. What makes this even better is the fact the village is connected in the middle of a lake that's entirely surrounded by pink cherry blossom hills. You've got villagers crossing the bridge they've made across the lake, houses being showered in cherry petals, and plenty of space for you to build your base and join this community. It's the ultimate cozy village survival spawn. This is my favourite Minecraft spawn for 2025. It's possibly the most breathtaking spawn in Minecraft. A cozy snow village nestled beside a cherry grove hill that is almost entirely surrounded by a majestic ice spikes biome. Your adventure begins right inside of the village, and you'll only be steps away from the Cherry Hill that also has a spacious dripstone cave to explore. The entire area is cradled by a dramatic ice spikes biome, creating a scene so magical it looks like something out of a winter fairy tale. I think it would be really fun to try and survive here with the rule that you're never allowed to touch the snow. Now, I'm no sailor, but I'm pretty sure this village is home to the worst boat captain in Minecraft history. How on earth did they manage to dock their boat sideways, above the water, and on the side of a woodland mansion? Minecraft just keeps getting crazier. And you can find these crazy structures in a really beautiful location. In the middle of this large lake, you can find a mansion, a village, a shipwreck, and there's even an outpost inside of the mansion too, which is probably why there are allays flying around everywhere. And if you dive below the village, you can find a trial chamber underneath all of this craziness too. This seed is an all-round amazing survival seed too, because not only is the lake surrounded by snowy mountains, beautiful meadows and dense forests, but it looks like there's plenty of jungle and eroded badlands off in the distance too. Let me know in the comments which village seed you liked best. And if you'd like to check out even more unbelievable villages, click the video on screen now for 50 more amazing village seeds that are even crazier than these ones.